YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back, and I got my Rams off-season rebuild for you guys today. This is going to be a good one because they're far in the negative. We're going to get them out of there and make them more of a championship contender now that they have Matthew Stafford. Did this for almost every team. We're just about done, so if we didn't do your team yet, we're going to do it in the next day or so, and we have full NFL offseason content. We got all kinds on the channel and much more to come leading up to free agency, and then we cover the draft after that. Can't wait for free agency, though, because we grade every single free agency signing. It's going to be a lot of fun. Follow our Twitter for instant news, reaction to the news, anything NFL, talk NFL draft on there as well. Subscribe to the channel, follow the Twitter. Underneath me, you see walkthemock.com, definitely the best draft simulator out there. You can create your own lobbies, join lobbies constantly, do a bunch of different mock drafts. If you're going to sign up, use code GOATHOUSE, makes it a lot cheaper there. Here's our Twitter. Just constant updates, on everything NFL-wise. Always talking, posting some of these rebuilds, having you guys vote which one's better. And then here's a little off-season guide. This link will bring you to my restructures. Pretty useful, especially for a team like the Rams, which we'll talk about those restructures. But a lot going on here. A lot of predictions and potential savings, things like that. So link pinned in the comments for that and other things so you can check it out. The Rams, usually I start with cuts. There's really I'm not saying they're not going to make any cuts, but there's really no major cuts. There's been rumors about Michael Brockers, but they like him. They needed to get him back last year, basically. They kind of stole him back from the Ravens. I don't think they cut him. Restructures, the good thing is they have a lot of ways to clear space by restructures. A lot of teams, pretty much every team can restructure almost every type of contract, anybody's contract, but there's a lot of potential savings here. And these aren't pay cuts, and who knows? There's going to be guys that take pay cuts. Those are impossible to predict because you don't know who's willing to do that and the exact number they're going to come up with. Restructures, I think these are pretty accurate numbers on potential restructures here. Aaron Donald, you can clear a whopping $14.18 million. Again, these aren't pay cuts. We take that money, we spread it out through future years, and that could put you in a little bit of a bind in the future, But the Rams, they're trying to win now. They trade for Matthew Stafford. They believe they can win now with this defense, and they got to clear space to get some more, players, re-sign some players, so they could afford to do this. The way the Matt Stafford trade, 2 years left on his deal. Could extend him, but Jared Goff, they basically needed to get out of his contract, but not for the full 4 years, but the next 2 years because they were able to get out of it kind of by default after that. So it almost feels like, in a way, a 2-year window to win this damn Super Bowl. So we got to clear space and win this now. Aaron Donald, again, a lot of money. Jalen Ramsey, a lot of money. You see all these. Matthew Stafford, potentially extend Matthew Stafford and clear money that way, right now, and then pay more in the future. Same kind of idea there. Robert Woods can save a bit. Cooper Kupp. That's a lot of money you can save. Went from projected negative 29 to 28. So we topsy-turvied that thing. We really flipped it. So looking pretty solid. Re-signings, tough decisions here. Maybe the biggest one in John Johnson. I love me some John Johnson, but I didn't bring him back actually because I think paying him may mean you won't be able to get a guy like Leonard Floyd, and then maybe one of the other guys as well. They'll probably lose Gerald Everett too. But the reason I moved on from John Johnson is because the number of safeties they have that can step up. I like Taylor Rapp, needs to stay healthy. Very versatile safety. I think he's going to be a heck of a ball player. Kind of already is. Jordan Fuller looked pretty good. Remember they drafted Terrell Burgess from Utah last year. These are solid options here. So I don't think if they get John Johnson back for, I think $10 million max, maybe just under that. I think he might get a little more, though. Then I'd be for it. Leonard Floyd, you may say, it's a tough one as well because it feels like whoever fills that role does a pretty good job. You see Dante Fowler dominated with the Rams, and whenever he was elsewhere before and after wasn't as good. Leonard Floyd wasn't that good. He comes in there and looks pretty dominant. So you may say we might just go with a cheaper option. You remember Leonard Floyd got over $10 million. He got more than I expected him to get last year, and I think he's going to be right around the same price, maybe $1 million or $2 million more. Because I don't think other teams are going to feel that confident about paying him big money. Is it only working out with the Rams? He was pretty disappointing with the Bears. So I don't think teams are going to dish out, So I don't think they're going to it's going to become a bidding war or anything. I think they can get him back for around the same price. And I think they'll be good with that. And then Terrell Lewis will step up. Hopefully he stays healthy. So I think they would like him back. I would like that as well. Pretty effective in their scheme. Both corners back, Darius Williams, Troy Hill. They use 3 corners, obviously, and Jalen Ramsey plays outside. Darius Williams is a fine young corner. Troy Hill can move around a bit, too, and he's pretty solid. So I think these guys would be on the cheaper side to stay with them. And Austin Blythe, perhaps they can get better there, but solid season. Get him back on the cheaper side. If you get a guy like John Johnson back, it might take away from getting a couple of these guys. So that's kind of my angle there. I don't really think you take a step down at safety. The 3 safeties I named, those are solid players that they have. Their impact player, their value on the field is Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, basically, and that will make the rest of the defense a lot better. Going into some options here, they won't have too much money after re-signing some of those guys. I like the fit of A.J. Johnson, from the Broncos on the inside. They need to get better at the inside linebacker position. They missed Corey Littleton last year. Get a guy like A.J. Johnson who can cover. He's pretty rangy as well. And they could look to grab one of those young, cheap upside options at the edge rush position like Tyus Bowser. I think, he's ready to break out, and the Rams could do that. And he can get some playing time as well because remember, Lewis does have a little bit of an injury concern. And they can grab another offensive lineman. Their offensive line, 2 years ago played pretty damn terrible, and last year was pretty surprisingly pretty good. On paper it doesn't look too good, but they got a really good scheme there, so you could look to get some insurance here. Nick Eason honestly could compete to start at center or guard. It should be a cheaper option, so they can't spend too much here. Going into the draft, Cosme actually could drop a little bit to the second round, so they grab him. And I threw in their compensatory projected picks here because, they don't have too many picks. But, yeah, they're expected to get a 3rd-round pick and a 4th-round pick. We'll cover that when that happens and have our predictions. But so I kind of threw them those here so we weren't just talking about one pick or whatever. So Cosme, I think, could be, probably sits behind Whitworth right away. But you're going to need to look out for that future tackle there for sure. Then they can grab a nose tackle. They kind of been trying to hit on some other nose tackles in the past. Hasn't really worked out, but they do have a number of guys that are okay. Tyler Shelvin from LSU could be a good option. And then kind of replacing Josh Reynolds, who can get more money than people realize, so they might not be able to get him back. But they do have Van Jefferson. We get another guy, longer receiver, Seth Williams there. I do think the Rams have done a good job of getting a guy ready for the, John Johnson's going to be gone. They got a couple. They got Burgess last year, Fuller, guys to step up. Reynolds is going to be gone. You got Van Jefferson last year. So Hopkins for tight end. They're going to lose Everett. So they've done a really good job at preparing for the near future. I really like what they've done there. Another option here, how about A.J. Green kind of playing for a little bit of a discount here? He can place Reynolds. That'd be fantastic. So maybe Van Jefferson sits as a rotation still. That's perfectly fine. So A.J. Green, pairing up with Matthew Stafford and company here, maybe plays for a little cheaper. That'd be ideal. Jared Davis has been an inconsistent young linebacker for the Lions, showing flashes like, okay, this guy, that's why he was a first-round prospect, and then had some really bad moments. But the Lions, they have not – I feel like some of those guys like Jared Davis, with a change of scenery, they could be good. So I would really like that, a cheaper option. And then maybe take a crack at Godshaw, who's could be an upgrade at the nose tackle position. You go into the draft. Trey Smith has experience at guard and tackle. I think they can help the Rams a lot here. I really like the idea of Kellen Mond and McVay's scheme. I love it, actually. I like Mond. I would take a shot at him in the second round. I think get him with their compensatory 3rd-round pick here, perhaps. I would love that. Sit behind Stafford for 2 years. Maybe they extend it. Maybe it's 3 years. That is perfectly fine for me. I would love that. And then kind of get a rotation guy, Rumph Jr. from Duke, pretty athletic edge rusher, to back up Terrell Lewis. I love Terrell Lewis. That's another guy they had kind of getting ready for the next year. If he stays healthy, he's going to be damn good. But they got to make sure they have some insurance here, and they're very good at doing that. So the Rams, right now, it's looking pretty good to win right now because they had Matthew Stafford. But they're not done. They got some free agents, and whether they get them back or not, they got to kind of get fill in some spots. Again, they have some other guys waiting in the wing to step up, but they're not ready to be. They're a contender, but to be in my mind to be that legit championship contender. That NFC, that top tier team in the NFC. They got a little work to do. As you can see, they can make it happen. I expect them to do those restructures. That is the key. So let's see if they end up doing it. I expect it. Not all of them, but maybe. We'll see. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, some big ones there, so we'll see what they do. Really excited to see what they do here this offseason. So join us on Twitter for the constant talk, updates. Join us here on the channel. Subscribe for all the content. Be much appreciated. And don't forget to smash that like button. But that is going to do it for this one. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Goodbye.